So, Tuesday evening, finally we expect the meaningful vote on the withdrawal deal to take place. Perhaps it's not the end, it might not be the beginning of the end, but it just maybe is the end of the beginning. Max McGill channels his inner Churchill and asks what comes next, and is there an end in sight?
In the run-up to Tuesday's parliamentary vote on the Prime Minister's Brexit deal, you'd be forgiven for thinking you've heard it all before.
The only way to avoid no deal is to vote for the deal. The deal protects jobs and security and delivers on the referendum, and he should back it.
Jeremy Corbyn was also replaying his 2018 hits.
So if her deal is defeated next week, as I hope and expect it will the Prime Minister do the right thing and let the people have a real say and call a general election?
The ayes to the right, 308. The noes to the left, 297.
In one new development last week, the government lost a vote, which means that if, as widely expected, her deal is defeated, she will have only 3 working days to come up with a new proposal. All this leads the shadow Brexit secretary to think we may not be leaving at the end of March at all.
I actually genuinely think you can't do it on the 29th of March this year. It's simply not viable for so many practical reasons.
Whatever happens on Tuesday's vote, it's a safe bet that there's going to be plenty more arguing about Brexit in 2019.
Well, joining me now is Paul Scully, the Vice Chair of the Conservatives in London and MP for Sutton and Cheam, and Neil Coyle, the Labour MP for Bermondsey and Old Southwark. Welcome to both of you. Well, we look at the Sunday Times today. You can see there, apparently, you guys, you're all plotting together to come up with another plan. Is that right, Paul?
No, I'm plotting to actually vote for this deal. I think it's the one that's the most orderly way of leaving. I voted to leave, and this actually gets me out of the political institutions. It gets us the end of the big membership fees, end of freedom of movement, and the ability to start our trade negotiations. They're all the reasons that so many people around the country, the 17.4 million people, voted to leave. It's not a perfect plan, but it's the most orderly way of getting out of the EU.
It would appear that you are, there are at least a third of the parliamentary party who completely disagree with you.
Well, you know what you've got, and you've heard it before from the Mayor, when he's talking about, he's trying to unpick the, instead of doing his day job, he's going around Europe trying to unpick the referendum. And you've got Jeremy Corbyn, frankly, who could write a plan, we put it to him, and he would vote against it. But he just wants a general election.
I think the Mayor of London is doing his job by standing up for Londoners who do want a close relationship with the European Union. You're completely out of sync with Londoners, and you know it. As to whether there is a coup coming. This is a government that does not have a mandate or majority to try and railroad Parliament or hold the whole country hostage in this ridiculous Hobson's choice pretending it's May's rubbish deal or no deal altogether. So any measures that Parliament can take that allow Parliament to hold the executive to account and get the best result for our country should be something we should work together on.
So Neil, you are not planning to vote for this deal?
Absolutely not.
Are you not concerned that the reality is we are running out of time? This is the deal that's on the table, and actually, if this deal isn't voted for, the default position is that we drop out without a deal.
No, because we have the power to revoke altogether Article 50. We do not have to go down this road. And, of course, whether it be through an election, whether it be through a new referendum, the European Union has been clear that they would extend Article 50 to allow the UK to go through either of those democratic processes. It is not true or fair to say that this is the only option on the table.
There are those who would argue that your position will be seen by many Leave voters as an utter betrayal of the referendum that we had 2 years ago.
Not those who've been in touch with me to say who voted Leave, and they are a small minority of my constituency. Southwark voted very heavily to remain. But those who voted Leave have been in touch to say May's deal does not deliver on what they voted for.
But your own party leadership, the Labour leadership, is worried about that, isn't it? It may not be worried about it so much in London, but it is certainly worried about it in other parts of the United Kingdom. And that's why your leadership is sitting on the fence, many would say.
The Labour Party has been clear. We want a general election, and we want a general election for many reasons, not least on Brexit. But the idea that it's no deal. The government is spending millions of pounds on no deal preparation that they have told my constituents who want a police service that works, want to tackle into the housing crisis, want an NHS that can deliver appointments on time. There was no money for any of that for the last 8 years. Suddenly, they found billions to waste on a no-deal Brexit that won't happen, including for a ferry company that has no ferries.
But these are one-off costs. These are one-off costs. I see what you've done there. That actually, you know, we do these one-off costs when we have foreign conflicts and other things like that. They're not revenue, which is like policing that we do need to clearly work on funding. We've all been working
fraud on the British people.
But look, you know, it's government. You're right to say that no deal is the default option, and it's government that has to revoke it.
Paul, the thing is, the reality is, there aren't a majority of MPs in the House who agree with you. They don't agree with the Prime Minister. They don't agree with you. You know that London, part of, you know, the city you represent is Remain, and there are jobs, there are businesses that depend on close links with the European Union, and at the moment it looks like your government's position, driving forward without compromise, without considering other options like EFTA, could put us in a position which is going to damage those businesses.
I'll come back to the point that I made right at the beginning when Neil was speaking, that more people voted to leave in London than voted for Sadiq Khan as first choice for mayor. And so there are a significant number of leavers around London, although clearly it's true that the majority voted to remain. But what we're trying to do is to do this for the best interest of the country as a whole, to respect the referendum, to make sure that we can have a soft landing.
But you're not convincing people, are you? You're not winning the argument.
This is because...
Sorry, the idea that this is the best deal for the country is nonsense. We've seen what's happening in Scotland. We've seen what happens in Northern Ireland. This is not the best result for the United Kingdom. It could break up the United Kingdom, and you need to end these falsehoods that somehow this is the best result for our country, when the government's own figures admit that it can only damage our economy.
Is there a sense, we know that that Number 10 has been reaching out to some Labour MPs. Do you have any sense at all that there is movement in the House, that people are being won over?
Well, look, whether it's enough, I don't know. But I mean, just on Friday, we had George Freeman on my side that had previously spoken out against the deal and is now saying he's voting for it. We had Jim Fitzpatrick on the Labour Party who said he's coming round to the deal. He hasn't quite made his mind up yet in that regard. So there clearly is movement, and there's things that are going to be happening over the next few days. Whether it's enough, we'll have to wait and see until Tuesday night. But this is really important that we get this right, and get this right in an orderly fashion, to be able to respect the referendum, to leave the EU and people leave their self-interest behind.
I'm afraid, both of you, we are going to have to leave it there. This is going to run and run and run and run, I am sure.